What do you think it takes to rewire a brain? I want to ask all of you guys.
Even the viewer, listen up, like, right now in your mind, imagine
One of my favorite quotes that I look up to.
That got me fired up, low-key, like, you saying that.
Bat me the fuck up, then.
Better talk to the audience. In fact, what I did...
This is what he was getting ready for.
And I do want to give the audience a reminder that we will be leaving with 3 tips. So stay tuned to the end so you can understand your call to action of how to do it.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Bros Think Big podcast. This is the show where we talk about the simple and yet complicated ideas of self-improvement. Tune in and join us as we become the best versions of ourselves so you guys can too. Mike, start us off. What are we talking about?
So today we're talking about how to kill your current self. But what does that really even mean to kill?
Before you click off.
No. But what does it really mean to kill your current version of yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've all experienced some type of pain, some type of problem during our self-improvement journey that we either didn't really like who we were or we didn't really like where we were. What?
Or habits even.
Our habits. We didn't like the person who we were.
The character. You're going to hear that word come up.
In order to go forward, right, in order to be the person who you want to be, in order to be the person that wants to achieve those goals and to achieve those things that you want to be, you have to kill the current version of yourself and slowly become a new version of yourself.
Now, where did this start? Obviously, this starts with what you just said. You're not happy with the character that you are. So, what are the actions that you would need to come to?
Choose,
no.
or
Let's think of something better.
Let's
think of something better than that.
Choose the character that you want to be.
Yeah.
Pick
So,
an avatar that you want yourself to become. Not necessarily what the goals you want to achieve, but who you want to be as a character that's going to achieve those goals. Because I feel like being a character is what's going to get you to those destinations.
Exactly. For an example, let's say I wanted to be an athlete. Instead of my goal being be the athlete, what I should do is I should see what does that athlete do? What do they think? What do they eat? Why do they do it too? How do they train? Exactly. Yeah. And that's going to push me further to becoming that person.
And then the journey that you will take to, eating the right way, working out a certain way, and like disciplining yourself, that's going to get you to that character, which is going to then take you to the goal that you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, your current self right now is only capable of doing what you've currently achieved. So the people that we are right now are only capable of doing a podcast with how many people how many subscribers right now?
Yeah.
Around 500 subscribers.
Yeah.
That's what we are capable of right now currently.
Yeah.
Right? And so in order to
our actions and our steps is going to determine how many more subscribers we're going to have, viewers, or, people who we're going to meet throughout this journey, The more successful we get, the more successful people we're going to surround ourselves around, because we're going to more connect to those people and share the same values, share the same mindset. Because, can we have Joe Rogan now? Probably not. In the future? Definitely.
Yeah, 100%. But I remember we had an episode before about like the power of your mind and what it could do, like your subconscious mind, your unconscious mind, whatever. And I think, I don't know if you guys remember this, but I said, as a man thinketh, so is he. Yeah. I think it's from James Allen. He said that. And literally what that means is whoever you think you are in your head, you will be.
And what goes in your mind is who you eventually develop to be.
Exactly. I've heard this topic from so many people, like Andrew Tate, Hamza, some other YouTubers. I've heard it from
Luke Peterson,
Luke Belmar. I've heard it from him. I've even read it in some books like Psycho-Cybernetics and The Mountain Is You, which I'm currently reading. And it really just talks about like the person who you think you are will be the person who you turn out to be. So,
how do you guys think people should take this seriously? Because some people are going to be like, how is my words or even what I think in my head is going to turn out who I am going to be in the future, stuff like that. I feel like some people don't take it as seriously as they should.
Before you answer that question, I do want to give the audience a reminder that we will be leaving with 3 tips. So stay tuned to the end so you can understand your call to action of how to do it. But someone else can answer your question.
So right now, like for example, even the viewer, listen up, like right now in your mind, imagine a bunch of lemons in your mouth. How would that feel? Like what does it taste like in your mouth? Can you does it feel sour?
Bitter. It's bitter as fuck.
Yeah, it feels sour, it feels bitter. The same thing is like there's no lemons in your mouth. So it's like what that really means is like when you think of something in your head, not only are you just thinking it, but your body and everything else is also there in that thought.
Yeah, that's what reflects your thoughts pretty much.
Exactly. So if you are a positive person, you will do more positive things. Or if you're a negative person, no wonder your life is shit and everything's negative around you. It's the way that you prop your mind in the way that you go about life and you think about it.
And you attract people around you that are also negative, and you tend to put yourself in situations that are negative, because that's just who we are. It's like we said this before, like the frequency that we vibrate on, it's real. And when you vibrate on a negative frequency, your frequency tends to go down, and you put yourself in the situations where, you know, people like you are there, or the environment that you enjoy being around, because that's just who you are.
Yeah, and I wanted to add to your question when you asked, what would you say to people that aren't serious about this? Yeah. First of all, if you're watching this video, then there's probably something about yourself that you're not currently happy with, something you're satisfied with, that you're not satisfied with, sorry. And my advice to that would be, I want you to think of the negative outcome rather than the positive. And this isn't me promoting so that you think negatively.
Yeah.
I'm saying, I'll repeat it. I want you to think of the negative outcome instead of the positive. For example, I want to be rich as fuck, right? And so I'm trading right now. I'm trying to drop school, everything like that, right? Instead of me thinking having that fucking car, all those bands and everything, why don't I think of the negatives, which would be me being homeless, not having anyone to look up to, not being someone to look up to, not being no connections, nothing like that.
Motivation, or like
the reason for this is that the negative thoughts are always going to be more impactful than the positive ones, unfortunately, and that's just the reality. That's why it's a lot easier for people to succumb to those negative thoughts that you were talking about earlier. So a bit of advice is your goal, think of the negative outcome, not the positive.
To also answer Sadul's question, I think it's a lack of immaturity.
Yeah.
Or lack of maturity. I'm sorry. It's pretty simple. If you're not going to deem a serious issue serious, that's where it stems from. So, I mean, of course, our audience most likely is in between the age of 17 to 30. And a lot of people that age are still trying to understand who they are and trying to understand what they want to become. And with that comes immaturity.
I don't think that ever stops. I don't think, like, even our grandmother, when we ask her, when someone asks us what we want to be when we're older and our grandmother's near, she'll whisper to us and she'll say, I don't even know what I want to be. And she's our grandmother, so obviously she's lived a long life. That's never going to stop your whole thing of saying people don't know where they're going to want to be. And this isn't me saying you're wrong, yeah. Right? But I want to put into perspective that you shouldn't even be satisfied in the first place. Like what I mentioned before, saying that if you're not satisfied with what you are, if you are, then I don't know what you're doing, because you're going to stunt your progress. So what I'm trying to get at here is that with what you just said, talking about how the people that don't know where they want to be, I don't think you ever will. And that's okay. That's a perfectly normal thing.
But you got to have some kind of vision to where you want to be.
Exactly. And that's what's going to help you with that.
The ultimate goal.
Exactly.
Just some kind of goal that you want to achieve, as small as, you know, getting up at 8 a.m. and going to work out. You know, that's a goal that you achieved.
And I full-heartedly believe that starts by rewiring your brain.
Exactly.
What do you think it takes to rewire a brain? I want to ask all you guys. Like, what does it take to that step to say, you know what? Shit.
The obvious one is
not happy who I am.
Obvious one, self-awareness, of course. That's like that applies for everything. Yes, but do
you think it's what's the right?
I would say action.
A canon event? Do you think it's a canon event, or you think it's?
I think so.
You don't know what a canon event is?
It's remember that Spider-Man movie
that we watched?
Yeah.
Remember the basic canon event is something that happens in your life that alters either your perspective or no.
Canon event is something that's meant to happen. It's like no matter what, like this is like in every other universe, this is what's meant to happen. Essentially saying that like
something that everyone experiences pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it is, because everyone's going to have that point of time in their life where they're not happy with who they are. That shit comes and goes. That's completely fine. That's completely normal.
And that could be an answer to, you know, my question too. You know, at some point, everybody's going to realize that they don't like their current self. You can't trick yourself with this. You know, you're going to feel it. Your body's going to adapt to that character. And at some point, you're going to be like, I don't think this is who I should be. I think I can be a better version. That would be a better way to put it. Not that I'm not a good person now. I could be better. And that's what you're chasing all the time.
Yeah, and also look back to what the video we just watched with Jordan Peterson. What he said for his example was setting the table. If you, let's say you set the table properly, but you do the other two things correctly. Let's say it's making soup and baking.
Washing dishes, yeah.
You messed up the 1 out of 3, and now you're gonna go tell yourself that you're a bad chef and you can't prepare for shit.
Yeah.
That's the wrong way to approach it. Instead, you have to learn from that error that your psychological brain is gonna think was just miserable. So, and then you learn from it. So then the next time you can get that. But let's say you mess up the other 2. Now you messed up 2 out of 3, and it's going to be the same thing. It's kind of what he was trying to say, Peterson, is that you have to look into the bigger picture, kind of what you mentioned earlier. It's not about that, and you have to learn from these little error.
Exactly.
I think if we link that video in the description, it would explain it better.
Oh yeah,
so I'll do.
Like I read this book called Psycho Cybernetics. It talks about like this torpedo method, right, that the brain uses to, when it's going towards a goal, the way it moves is through trial and error, through errors. Because if a torpedo's flying towards a goal, and it hits an error, it's gonna change courses, and if it's another error, it's gonna change courses, and eventually down the road, error, you'll eventually hit. That's why when people jump to different business models and stuff like that, it's like error, hit. You know what I mean? So it's like, it really just comes with trial and error is just a part of the process of becoming the ideal version of yourself.
Failures, exactly. Error could be a failure too. You know, 1 failure, 2, 3. You learn from those failures, and eventually you're gonna hit the target.
Mm-hmm.
Something I also wanted to just point out. There's actually a term for this. It's called neuroplasticity. What it means is it's the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural pathways throughout life and in response to experiences. It's kind of interesting to me because I like how it says forming new neural pathways throughout life. So almost like it's branching off into different ways of how to respond to that situation. This is going to be similar here. You're not happy with yourself. You need to think, what are the other pathways that I can take or walk down to think where I can be happy with this?
You see a lot of people, they like to chase the goal, like, for example, if you're doing YouTube, you want 1 million subscribers, 100,000 subscribers, whatever, or you're a businessman, you want some money, but what you're really you're not trying to get to the goal, you're not trying to get the money or the subscribers, it's becoming the person who's able and capable of getting those types of things. So what does that person, like we said earlier, what does that person do? What does he act like? What does he think? What is his feelings? Like, you know, like everyone has like a snapshot in their head of like a goal, like their goal, and them achieving it. But let's dive a little deeper than that, right? Instead of just getting a snapshot and getting just a picture of it, make a video in your head. What does it feel? Let's say, for example, Georgie wants to do the Olympics, right? How would it feel when he has like the fucking medal in his hand? How does it feel in his hand, the medal, when he's number 1? You know what I mean? How, like, what is like the fucking temperature of the metal in his hand? How does that feel? Like, go deeper into it. What is the fans like? What do they look like? What is it? How loud is the arena?
The crowd,
what are they chanting? Everything like that.
Yeah. So like the person that you want to become, it's really just a lot of visualizations and affirmations that you can do. Like, for example, go get out a piece of paper and write down who is this ideal version of yourself. Like, my name's Michael Fricker, so it's like, who is Michael Fricker? Who is he that he wants? Like, who is the person that he wants to become? And so, what?
This is exactly why mentors are so valuable in the first place, because you get to spend time with them and you get to think, you get to see how they react to certain situations. You get to think what they think, and you get to you get to dive deeper into their thought process, and that's exactly what we're trying to get you guys to do. Exactly.
Yeah, and so a lot of people, they see like these people like Jordan Peterson or Andrew Tate, for example, or Luke Belmore, or some entrepreneurs in general, like, or any type of successful person, like, people think it's like wrong to like kind of act like or be like these other people, right? And they'd be like, oh, just be yourself, but taking a trait from someone just because it resonates with you is not a bad thing at all. Because if it resonates with you for a reason, right? It is a reason that you want to take this trait from, like, you know how Jordan Peterson talks, like, he is like how he talks with like crazy words.
Yeah.
And like
English, please.
Yeah, exactly. Like we were watching this video and he was just talking and this guy didn't understand the thing he was saying, right?
First 17 seconds, I
the
paused it. I
words
was like,
he
guys,
uses.
what the fuck?
Exactly.
I had to have you guys break it down, and I still didn't get a
Still
breakdown.
did not work.
He uses a lot of scientific terms, and
But if you can follow, yeah,
but if
like,
you can follow along.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, for example, if that resonates with you, start taking that. Take that for yourself. Visualize yourself talking like that and being like that. Because it's not copying. It's what resonates with you. It's you kind of...
Reciprocating.
Yeah, you're digging, trying to find yourself. You know what I mean? Digging, trying to be the ideal version of yourself.
Do you guys remember that comment we got with Josh's on Josh when we had that one video about depression, and it was like, "You want to be Andrew Tate so badly,
Oh, yeah.
please stop promoting." Like, remember that shit?
Yeah,
That's
it's
that's exactly what that is. And then obviously we discussed that comment in one of our previous episodes, saying that not a thing. Let's say whatever he fucking said, right? But let's say Josh was trying to be like Andrew Tate. Why does that have to be a bad thing? Obviously, the person that commented it is probably just what Josh said, a lack of maturity. Like a lack of maturity. But why is that got to be a bad thing? To look up to someone and resonate with one of their thoughts because you think it's right. And you are obviously the person at the end of the day that makes that decision. Whatever Josh was resonating with, he thought is right. He wanted to preach it. Why is that got to be a bad thing? Why does people have to fucking say, you're trying to be like this guy so badly? Who cares?
Well, it's
Who
like
cares?
also too, like let's take for example David Goggins, right? You want David Goggins' discipline. You want to be that hard ass motherfucker, right? So what you'll do is you'll see him as like a mentor. You'll watch some videos, read some of his books, and kind of take what he has and make it your own. In a sense.
You might not want to run marathons, but you might want to have a discipline like David Goggins. This doesn't make you him. It makes you with a good trait of David Goggins. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can be able to identify the good traits of those successful people and eliminate the bad ones that at least in your perception is bad, take the good ones, collect them, have them in your collection, and build your character up.
Yeah.
Cook.
Building your character is really
Build-A-Bear.
Trying to exactly. You can't like people have this idea. It's like there is this version of yourself that you were always meant to be, and yeah, that's true. But it's like you kind of have to. Where am I trying to go with this?
I believe it alters all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
As you learn new things and as you find new ways.
Mm-hmm. It's always evolving.
Yeah. I want to share personal what you were saying previously about kind of imagining the things. Like a great analogy is my personal story with my abs. And you're kind of telling me, like, rather than just saying, I want to have abs and then proceed to just continue to do it, which is sort of what I did. And yes, it worked, but how much better would it have been if you were saying, what does a man with abs have to do? Okay, so I have to run 10 miles a week. On top of that, I have to do a plank every single morning. On top of that, I have to eat 1,500 a day. On top of that, eat 0 desserts. When you can get that specific things written down, what does a guy with abs have to do? Or what does a guy to reach 250 pounds on a bulk to do? It becomes 10 times easier on how to follow it, a sense of direction. Because I think that's the whole message behind it. I think the underlying message is having a sense of direction. When you have a sense of direction, you are 10 times more powerful. Like I always say, a man with purpose is 10 times more powerful. And I previously experienced when I was telling him, I broke a part of the machine. I broke a machine. Yeah. I broke a machine after 2 days after I thought I found my purpose. It was a message.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
And like the thing is, like, instead of chasing the goal, chase the character that you want to be. Mm-hmm. And like that might sound a little bit egotistical. Oh, I want to be like the best type of character, but it's just like it's kind of true. That's how we evolve as humans. That's how we become better and better.
Yeah, you gotta shoot for the best.
Exactly, and like with technology nowadays, like there's so many people out there. It's like see who resonates with you, and kind of sit down with yourself and like make out a pamphlet and try to visualize your ideal self. Who does he? Instead of if you want to be a trader or something, right? Just be like, oh, I want to be the type of person who can make $5,000 a month from trading, or $10,000 a month just from trading.
Easy.
Right? And then what does he do? What are the type of things that he does? Like, what does he know? And then all of a sudden, you
open up the pathways to that goal.
Yeah, pathways will open up, and all of a sudden, you start acting like him. You start being that type of person who can do those things.
Exactly.
Are we gonna ignore the fact that Josh said do a plank 15 minutes a day? Dude, chill the fuck out.
15 minutes a day.
Yeah, you did.
That's
Or did you
what
say
I said.
15 or
Did you say
5?
15?
I said
I think he said 15.
do a plank every day.
In the morning.
I think you said for
I don't
15.
think I said.
Okay, good, because that's fucking scared me.
But if you want to be the guy with
Then what do you gotta do?
crazy ass,
So do
you
'em.
have to
That's
do
true.
15 minutes.
That's true.
Gotta get to that level
I can
eventually.
do like 30.
And
Yeah,
if you like kind of
sure
find
you fucking
yourself
can.
like slowing down and like, you know what I mean, like this person that you're trying to be, it's like it feels difficult. It's like the only way to be the person who you want to be, the reason that it's painful and it's difficult is because that, like, for example, your brain. I mentioned this in one of my videos actually. It's like your brain, anything outside of its comfort zone, it will not allow you to do at all. Like it's just like your brain like clings on and attaches to things that are comfortable, and it kind of sucks, you know what I mean? Like because that's how we become so complacent. We become so like become victims to our own environments that we create in our head. Like, it's like a little cage, you know what I mean? And if you try to get out the cage, it's like you'll get fucking clawed back in by your own brain. And so you gotta understand, in order to be the person who you want to be, you have to resist and go through that pain and be uncomfortable. Because that person that you just wrote down on that piece of paper, he might look so foreign. He might look like someone who you never thought you'd be, and that's a good thing. So that means you have a lot of work to do. That means you have to go through that pain, that resistance to be that type of person.
When you guys think of rewiring your brain, do you guys think of dopamine detox?
Personally, no.
Can you explain that further?
Dopamine detox is like me personally, I don't know. I hear a lot of like hustle culture talking about it, where you need to like. It started off of TikTok because you know, we all know how
here's the
TikTok
thing.
and
I understand
dopamine.
the term for sure, but dopamine can also be used in a positive way. I'm pretty sure now.
What is dopamine?
Dopamine isn't a bad thing. It's what you feel in your body, right? That when you enjoy something, right, or
Exactly,
some
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of pleasure or delayed gratification, but then you attain something, you feel like you get dopamine. Because,
That's
you
exactly
just
what that is. Yeah.
got something that is pleasurable, something that is like a result.
Yeah. It's not a bad thing at all, but an excess of it is,
Yeah, I
of
think
course, because
definitely,
that's
yeah.
when you get complacent. TikTok is the example of excess, because you see one video, oh, I really like
Because you
that.
fill
Let's
up
see another.
yourself
Ooh,
with too much
ooh,
pleasure,
ooh,
and I don't think that's a
ooh,
good thing,
yeah.
because you know, if you want to attain that character that you said, that when you're looking at yourself, current self now, and compared to who you want to be in the future, and they're two different people, that means that you gotta kind of let the dopamine get out of the equation, because you're not gonna feel too much dopamine when you're getting to that, because you're gonna have to delay a lot of gratification. You're gonna have to go through a lot of hardship. You're gonna have to sacrifice a lot of things.
Yeah, well, dopamine is pretty much like the one thing. So it's like, let's say, for example, you're scrolling on Pornhub, right? The dopamine that you're getting is leading up to, like, the nut, right?
Mhm.
Of you nutting from the video. So after you nut, your dopamine goes down, because that leading up
Serotonin
process...
comes up, right?
What is serotonin?
Is that serotonin a good feeling?
The happiness hormone.
Happiness. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah,
I-
it does
I-
come. It does
Isn't
come. Well,
dopamine happiness
No,
hormone?
dopamine is like the one thing in the drive.
serotonin is happiness. That's why in the same video we watched that we're gonna link in the description, Peterson said, with depressed people, you'll notice that their serotonin levels fall.
Oh,
So,
well, that makes fucking sense.
Have you guys
Of
ever
course.
heard of, like,
Doesn't
dopamine
take a
stacking?
fucking scientist.
What were you saying?
Have you guys ever heard of dopamine stacking? It's like...
No.
It makes sense.
So it's like pretty much like, I've heard it somewhere, but it's like, I'm gonna explain it in my own terms. It's like, for example, when we were at Josh's birthday a couple weeks ago, that one night, that one day, we...
I want to search it up.
What, dopamine stacking?
Yeah, I want to see. Just so we.
Like filling yourself up with too much dopamine, right? Like too much pleasure and too much things to
let me say, for example, that day, me, I had coffee before we filmed. We had a really good episode. We were laughing and giggling the whole time like a bunch of like little children, you know what I mean? And then we went out to eat a bunch of steak, and then
We had fun there.
we had
in
fun
the
there. I
restaurant.
don't go out. I don't really go out to dinner. So it's like, when it is, it's a fucking good ass time, right? And we were all there. It was a new experience. It's like dopamine.
And a lot of meat.
Then we had a lot of desserts and meat, right?
Meat.
We had a fucking we had one bite of everyone's fucking dessert. It was like, and then it was just like a skyrocket of dopamine. Dude, that week after that shit, bro, I was unmotivated as fuck. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not saying I regret it, but I'm just saying, like, expect to, like, when you stack dopamine, I'm gonna give you another example. You wake up one morning with your girl, You guys both drink coffee. You have a high carb breakfast, which high carbs release good amounts of serotonin in the body. Makes you a little bit sleepy. So coffee, caffeine, serotonin from the breakfast, and then you have sex with music on. Bro, you're not gonna want to do shit for the rest of the day after
That's
that.
true. That's true.
That's dopamine stacking. That's fucking 4 things.
Wow. No.
In
And
the span of 2 hours, you're not gonna want to do shit after that. So it's like that's why people like they regulate their dopamine. Like, have you guys ever
And
heard,
dopamine
like,
What if
feels
you're a
good,
hungry
so
dog,
you get
though?
addicted to it.
what?
I'm a
yeah.
hungry dog, though. I feel
Shut
like.
the fuck
No,
up.
serious.
And then you get addicted to
Serious.
dopamine too.
Exactly.
because
Yeah,
it's such a
yeah.
good feeling. I mean,
Yeah.
I would do anything to have that night every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you can't overuse it because then there would be no point of it. Like we haven't had a night like that for a while, but then we did, and it felt so good.
Yeah.
Now, if you had to have that every day, it would not be pleasurable at all.
Because like we would try to always
it would
like
lose its value.
because your dopamine goes down like below the baseline, right?
Now you want
We've
something
talked about this.
crazier.
We've had an episode about dopamine,
Yeah.
and it goes below the baseline. So you're trying to get that dopamine again, but all of a sudden your happiness is just lower than it usually was. So you have to do more. You have to do more to get back up there.
Yeah.
And then it won't be the same as it is.
It's actually funny that you mentioned that because these two are guilty of it. Dopamine stacking. It says right here, stacking dopamine peak causing activities refers to too many dopamine peak stimulators,
Yeah.
such as coffee and pre-workout drinks. So a bunch of bodybuilders are actually guilty of this. When you take your pre, then you go work out, enjoy yourself. Yeah, with the AirPods in the
caffeine,
ears.
workout.
Then you go into the sauna, feel good, everything like that, right? And then again, I don't actually think there's anything really wrong
For
with that
example,
series
hard
of
workout
events.
is like that's good dopamine right there.
True.
'Cause
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
That's hard.
And I think every workout should be hard in the first place.
Yeah.
And it's not to say like, would you guys even think that's a bad series, a chain of events? Like you take pre or you drink a coffee, work out, you listen to music, which is energy, make you probably work out better, and then sauna.
No.
Like I don't think that's a bad series.
I also
of events.
want to not necessarily rebuttal his argument, but like the dopamine stacking, right?
Stacking.
I was gonna say stuffing. I was like, that's not right. I didn't have that feeling at all. I think it's like when I said I'm a hungry dog, I fucking mean it. I'm not to say that I'm hungrier than you. I don't
What do you
think.
mean?
What I mean is I
More
enjoy
he's
that day
motivated.
and I strive for better. I think it's I'm a competitor by heart. You know that. That's engraved into me. And I fucking love that trait. When I had that day, all I wanted to do is get back to fucking work and I wasn't capable of doing so because I forget after that I had something or something happened, but it's like I don't feel unmotivated after a sequence like that
Yeah,
at
everybody's
all.
different. I personally
Yeah.
didn't feel unmotivated.
Yeah. I'm not. The message is not to underlie what you say. I'm just saying that.
That was
it
an
also
example,
varies.
though.
Yeah.
There
of
definitely
course.
are specific cases like that. 'Cause
I didn't want the audience to think, "Oh, wait, I had a time like that. Should I not have a time like that?" Because I
Oh, yeah,
wanted to
no.
say like,
But I'm sure you could think
Just
of
to-
a time.
it's just good to be aware of
Yeah,
such
exactly.
things.
Like me personally, on Friday, I was with my girl until like midnight, right? And then that was my dopamine stacking because I always have a good time with her, right?
Yeah.
And then I came home and I was like, fuck, I didn't really get much work done, so I'm just gonna work it out until 3:30. I did. The next day, this was yesterday, I woke up at 10:35. Josh came into my room at like 11:20.
20.
Yeah, 11:20, and saying, "Dude, what the fuck are you doing in bed?" Like,
I said, "Are you alive?"
yeah, he thought I was dead. But that was just because I was fucking motivated. I was like, ooh, even after a bunch of that dopamine shit, I was still motivated. So you can
make
still
up for
be
it.
hungry, and it's great that you are actually. How do we get the audience to be like that? Kind of just wanting it to be bad, wanting it bad.
You
enough?
just gotta fucking want. There is
I'm
no.
in
There's
my
no
fucking-
secret to
yeah.
it, Sasha.
There is no
There's
you're
no
right.
secret.
You're right.
You're not gonna fucking get abs unless you don't want it.
Yeah.
You're not gonna fucking become
Yeah,
rich
it's a
unless you want
uh-huh.
it. There's no secret.
I didn't want to be a profitable trader.
There's no
I wanted to
fucking
stay up
secret.
till 3:30 right there.
There's no secret.
Studying.
Well, a lot of the times, like the reason people don't want things is because they satisfy and they escape. You know what I mean? Like they numb the pain of not having things, and they try to. You know, you ever seen like that picture of the fucking
Bang,
horse
bang,
in
bang.
business?
Of what?
This is like I've been through a bunch of fucking courses. You guys know this.
Yeah.
And they always like mention this horse. The guy like riding the horse is like kicking the back of the horse's butt and dangling a carrot in front of it. It's like pain and desire in front of it. So it's like
That's what Jordan Peterson also said in that video.
yeah, exactly, something like that. And pretty much what I'm trying to get at is like people numb themselves when they like. For example, the reason they don't want abs is because they don't like they're already satisfied because they numb themselves with porn. They escape with video games. They eat all this fucking food. They have access to everything, and that's why they don't want anything because they're already
I said
satisfied.
they have access of everything. I love that. That's a good
'Cause,
line.
yeah.
Dude, literally, like, they have porn at their fingertips. They have access to video games at their fingertips. They can, dude. They
Yeah,
have access to
I
literally
think that's
everything.
just the problem with
That's why broke
phones.
people have more motivation
unreality.
to do.
Not unreality.
Escape. I love how he used the
Escaping
word
reality.
escape.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the
escaping
problem with
reality.
escaping reality.
It's not everyone. No one. There's not one person in this life that's satisfied. Like, let's be real. There's not one person. I'd say so. So I think it's more of that idea of escaping reality, and always not confronting the true problem.
These phones
It's
are a
so
cancer.
easy. It's so easy.
It's cope. It's literally just like
Yeah,
everyone
cope.
just, like,
Yeah,
copes.
that's the best term.
Like,
That's the best
for
term.
example, dude, like I've even noticed myself, like if I have a bad conversation with like let's say I just have a bad experience, I go on my phone and just scroll just to distract myself from it. If I'm having a bad thought or a bad feeling, like I've had if I'm trying to get away from anxiety, I literally go on my phone and scroll. I'm gonna be honest.
I love that you say that, because it's important to say that we're all susceptible to this, and we're all.
Of
Of course we are. We're human.
Yeah.
But now I'm aware of it, and now I'm just like I have to face the dragon. I have to face the pain. I have to face the fucking lion that's clawing at my back. You know what I mean? So it's like
Because the social media doesn't really take
Yeah.
away that challenge that's in front of you. Only kind of hides it and makes it even a bigger problem. Because eventually you will have to face it. It will get so big that it will be noticeable.
yeah.
And I want to ask, when you went on your phone and escaped that like scenario, would you ever try to justify it by saying, "Well, it's not my fault. Like
It's like
I'm in a
mindless-
bad experience."
Like I know what I'm doing and it's mindless. I'm just trying to like get away from.
Does that help
about,
you?
That's the thing.
Would
It
you say
numbs.
it helps?
It's numbing. So it's like when the problem does creep back up, you know what I mean? It's like here's like the problem, and then I'm putting a bunch of garbage on it, and then eventually the garbage goes away, and then
It's back
It's
there.
back. It's always gonna be there. You know what I mean? You can't like hide away from it.
I love the way you put that.
So
That
you
was
can't
great.
like you gotta stop numbing yourself. Like I've been doing this shit for how long have we been on self improvement? Like over a year now,
Over a
all
year,
of us.
yeah.
All of us by way more. Than
Oh, way over a year, right? And like I bet we've had points where we just like fuck. We're just like fuck. Like
We fucked up.
dude, I literally
Simply.
Yeah.
Dude, I've had
Yeah.
times where I just fucking I hate myself. Like I literally just said it on a fucking piece of paper. Fuck you. I hate you. Like to
You
myself.
experience
And
psychological.
that's when I knew I had to fucking kill the current version of myself. And
psychological suicide. That's
what I
the
would do
term
in my
for it.
head to do psychological suicide is erase and forget just like everything that person is and just be in the present. Like everything from the past I kind of erase, you know what I mean? Everything bad that he went through, you know what I mean? And then what I do is like I move forward, right? I start from a blank
Not
slate.
erase, but okay, go ahead. No, my bad.
Well, it's like not a race, but I kind of forget
Don't-
like
don't-
that.
Would
I
you
changed.
cover it up?
Yeah, exactly. I kind of it's like I don't have to be this person anymore because in the present I can always change who I am in the present.
Exactly.
The person who I was a couple minutes ago, I don't have to be him anymore. I can change right now. I can change from a blank slate right now.
Yeah.
As you're watching this right now, the viewer, right? Like you can the moment that you are watching this, like the person who you were a couple minutes ago, you don't have to be him anymore. You can always change whenever you want.
Yes,
Very
sir.
well said. Should we
Let's dive into tips.
transition into
Write down the ideas like journaling.
Your
Journaling is
ideal
a good
version
idea.
of yourself that you want to become.
Yeah, exactly. Like making a sketch or whatever is easier for you. Writing it down, drawing, like kind of like visualizing your future self by putting it on the paper and having it in front of you, and like looking at it every night, every morning, or whenever you feel like it, whenever you need that motivation kind of thing to know, all right, this is who I'm chasing. This is the person I want to become, and what motivates you and keeps you going.
Yeah.
Sadula is perfect for this because I remember one time, it was a bit of like probably a couple months ago over something with the podcast. I told him I said, yeah, I'll remember it. I'll keep it in my head. He goes, no, write it down. It's so much. I'm pretty sure all three of you journal. Yeah. It's so much more impactful when you write it down. And teachers say this, like active listeners will tell you this as their best advice too. Writing it down keeps it, not only can you always go back to it, not only do you have a safe confirmational way to remember something, but it's just so much more impactful in general. So that's why you really got to put the emphasis on journaling. And we've mentioned it so many times in the past before, but it helps you exponentially. And Josh, with his gratitude journal, you write down 3 things every day. What do you think that does for him? Because then he can just flip the page, go right back to
reminds
it.
me of all the good that happened the day before.
Exactly.
I want to ask this question personally, Mike, but everyone feel free to answer. I'm a guy who can openly admit, like, stuff like journaling, stuff like working on yourself, writing stuff down, I don't value as much. I'm a guy who wants to get work done. And I'm sure there's plenty of other people with that same mindset, which they won't devote enough attention into, you know what, like, that's a good idea, but I'll skip on it. There's a lot of people that are going to be like that. So what would you tell them? Why is it so important?
To write down.
Write down. Do the little things like this, which technically isn't work, but it is. It could be even more important work than the work you're putting out.
It's literally just self-love. You're showing up every single day for yourself. You're writing for yourself. It's literally just, it's like, for example, every morning, like, I read the Bible. Like, I don't, like, I do it because I love God, but I show up to, like, build a relationship with Him. Like, regardless of how I feel.
Discipline, too.
Exactly. It's discipline. It's like, I show up and I write down shit to love, just because I love myself.
I'm asking more of why is it important? Not like, how do I continue to do it? That's discipline. But I'm saying, why should you even write down the ideal version? Like, I have in my head, or like, let me just do work and I'll become the ideal version. So what you want to do
when you write down your ideal version of yourself, print it out and just read it every single day, every single night before you go to bed. And you might not, the results will be invisible in the first 2 weeks probably, but in 2 weeks, 3 weeks,
longer,
maybe even a couple months, all of a sudden you're starting to act like him. You're starting to do the things that the person on the paper is doing. And when you're reading this paper and it's starting to just like, you're just reading it mindlessly at this point, you got to feel it. You got to like activate those neurons again when you're reading it, because like we said, like what you think in your head can manifest in reality. Like when you think about something, your body's there, but you're not actually there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And you also need to the results won't be there. They will not be there for
but you're
a couple
slowly
months.
becoming the person that's on the paper.
And you also have to think in the long-term game. Think of fucking years. Where are you going to be in the next year, or in the next 2 years, in the next 10 years, when you have a family and everything like that, and you're someone that people can actually look up to? You got to think of the big numbers.
Yeah, it's be he who can.
Be he who can.
I think the question that you asked about like why it's so important to write down, Jordan Peterson says this a lot, because I mean he's a writer, you know, he fucking does lectures for like students and stuff in college, so he knows the power of writing. Because one thing I want to mention is about the school system is how they teach you to write things isn't the ethical way to actually write, because it's almost like people want to write essays just to get a good grade on it and write things that teacher's going to be satisfied with, not your actual thoughts and what you truly think about the topic, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And when you write things down, it's literally your thoughts, your mind pouring on that paper, because what you think is what you write down on the paper. So it's way deeper than that, because you can only know this if you try it. So I have personally tried writing things down, and when I write it down, I can sit there for way longer and write down my thoughts and kind of understand what I'm actually writing down. So the thing that I wouldn't even think about at the moment, if I was, say, speaking to somebody or speaking out loud, when I write it down, I write down a bunch of ideas, bunch of new ideas, something that I wouldn't even think was in my head, but it was there. It's just like, it might be hard to imagine such thing, but it's true. You just have to do it and you will see. Just write down your thoughts. Ask yourself, what do I actually think about this topic? Something that you're passionate about, something you want to share your perspective on, and you will see how many ideas you come up with just sitting down with yourself and writing it down on paper.
Thoughts can't be weighed or measured.
Exactly.
Your thoughts in your brain, so that's why we put them on pieces of paper.
True that. Very true that. Number 2. Positive.
Now we get to that.
There it is. Positive affirmation.
Yeah.
Like I said, like when you print out the piece of paper, read it and write it. Like not read it every single day, every single night to affirm. When you like write, I am this, I am that, I am this type of person, I am this, I am that. Like I. Who is I? I is the person that you want to become, right? Does that make sense?
Exactly.
And like a great example of this is you telling yourself constantly, I am confident. I am who I want to be. I am strong.
Exactly.
Whatever it is.
I am
It
disciplined.
might seem even corny at first. It's like, oh, I'm just fucking saying the shit and like to nobody in the mirror, right? But it like what you don't realize is that it's invisible at first. It will be invisible.
What's corny is being a bitch and being complacent.
He wanted to get that off
I
his
am not a
chest.
bitch.
I know he did. I am not a bitch, and it sounds corny and everything like that. But how many times do we have to mention this? He who think of he becometh.
As a man thinketh, so is he.
Yeah, it was something like that. I was close.
I don't know what the
But
fuck you said.
What,
honestly, but-
he who thinketh.
Becometh.
All right,
It
new
was-
quote
it was-
of the day.
it
New
was
quote of the
better,
day.
to be honest.
New quote of the day. He
Almost
who
there.
thinketh
Quote
is
of the
he
day?
is who he will
Becometh.
becometh.
Sorry, it's not quote
Becometh.
of the day anymore.
It's quote. Oh fucking it. Shut the fuck up. We move past that, Josh. Come on. Anyways, that it's so true. Like your thoughts will become your actions in the long run. That's why I didn't like that one quote that we had a couple episodes ago. Your thoughts will reflect your actions, or your actions reflect your thoughts. Whatever you think, I am confident. You will be confident in the long term. When you consistently affirm that you are, that's what's going to become reality.
Yeah, I have some examples written down for like positive thoughts and stuff. So if you say to yourself, say, I'm enough. Today I'm a leader. I have the power to make my dreams come true. I'm proud of myself. If I fall, I'll get back up. Today's going to be an awesome day. So on and so forth. It's like if you say this stuff to yourself in the mirror, your brain is picking this up. You have that stored in your subconscious mind. And when some problem occurs, you say, if I fall, I'll get back up. I am a leader. That kind of stuff is going to come in play in action when you actually do things. So you're feeding yourself with positive thoughts that when you need them in action, your mind will be there to kind of help you with it.
Yeah, and I know motherfuckers are thinking that shit about, like, oh, that's so corny. Like what you said,
Why would you say
I know,
this?
yeah, I know
Like,
people are
that's
thinking,
cringe.
and I could see it too. Like even when you read that out loud, I was like, ooh, that's corny. But who gives a fuck what's corny or not? Think about yourself. Where are you gonna be? What do
But
you want to
You
achieve?
gotta really understand this in a deeper sense. Some people don't even believe that words are energy.
Yeah.
Some people don't believe
They
that
don't. They don't.
words,
Why not?
Words are what, like, words lead up to actions. People don't believe that kind of stuff, so they don't take this seriously. But eventually, when they're gonna need them and they're gonna practice it, that's the only way you understand.
It's funny too because those are the same people that believe music is energy. I'm pretty sure most would agree to that. So if music can be energy, then why the fuck can't words be energy?
Because music
Two options.
is
Exactly.
words, literally.
That's why I
Exactly.
stopped listening to rap and shit, bro.
Mhm.
You got two options. You either be a corny guy or you stay where you are, unsatisfied.
Stay
Your
complacent.
choice. Your
Another
choice.
thing is when you
Up
hear
to
all
you.
this, when you hear all these successful people talk about this kind of stuff, I mean, they got there somehow, right? And if they're telling you that this is what they did, give it a try. You think it's corny? All right, what is going to change if it doesn't work out for you? Nothing's going to change. You're still going to be that person. But if it does, oh yeah, it can be a better result. Just like how you say, you know, if you have nothing now, but then you try to attain something, if you lose, you still have nothing. But if you attain it, you have something. It's the same thing with this. You try it
Yeah,
out.
and I love how you mentioned that successful person because one of my favorite quotes that I look up to is it goes like this. It's actually I think it's a story, but you can look at it as a quote. The young boy told the king, "One day I will be king." Right
Yeah.
there is the affirmation.
Yeah.
Everybody else laughed except the king. Isn't it? Like, you heard
Right,
that? I
dude,
love
yeah.
it. I love it too.
Because
it-
King was there at some
Exactly.
point
He
with the mindset
exactly
of being
he,
a king.
That's my point. Like the king affirmed to himself, saying, "I will be the king." He became the king because he
Exactly.
thought that he would it, and he believed it, and he worked towards that. What do you think the young boy is gonna do?
Exactly.
What do you think the people that laughed at him are gonna do? Which do you want to be? Think of it
Like
like
got
that.
me fired up, low key. Like you saying that,
Bat me the fuck up, then.
No, that was tough.
but like with your mind especially, like I think, no, your 90% of your mind is like subconscious, and 10% is conscious. So what you don't realize is 90% of your mind can see the other 10%, but the 10% can't see the 90.
Yeah.
So
At
it's
least
like
can't identify
Mhm.
where it's coming from or why is it there.
exactly.
Mhm.
But like the backside, like the dark side of your mind, like your subconscious, like that side of you, they can see everything that you are experiencing, but you can't really see like it. That's like the intelligent mind right there. That's like the
The subconscious mind is intelligent mind.
it's
yeah.
the intelligent mind.
Because look, if you, like I said, if you read this specific thing, I'm just gonna say an example. They're all good, but if I fall, I'll get back up. If you keep saying that to yourself and that's stored in your subconscious mind, eventually, when you actually fall down, you subconsciously get up and go back to it. Get up and keep on fighting, because I mean, our subconscious thoughts are like when you get hungry, you have to eat. When you get thirsty, you have to drink. It's not something that you think of. Like technically, you just do it because you have to. You know. Else you're gonna fucking die. You know, something like that. So same when that kind of thought is stored in your subconscious mind. If I fall, I have to get up and keep fighting. That's just what you do, and then you will realize that the outcome of succeeding or achieving some kind of result is you getting back up and keep on fighting.
And that perfectly ties in with tip number 3.
Yes, sir.
Act.
Yep.
Act. Like the transition there is beautiful because with what you just said, whatever your subconscious thought is what you're going to become. Your subconscious thought won't mean shit without the action.
Exactly.
But that subconscious thought will eventually lead up to the action. The same thing Fricker was saying. The results will be invisible for a couple months. I like how you said might. I'm confident to say they will be invisible for a couple months because nothing easy, or nothing that's good that came easy,
Yeah.
that was short is going to last.
Exactly.
You have to really work for this shit. You have to really put your fucking effort into this shit because this is your life, man. This is your life. And then it's the people around you, too. You got to think of it like that.
It's another
Yeah,
thing.
you
like,
look at
it's
that shit, too. I was like, I'm scared. Are you trying to rizz me up?
No, I'm about to talk to the audience. In fact, what I did. What?
This is what he was getting ready for.
I wrote it down. I am a winner.
Hey.
I am a winner. I am a winner. I am a winner.
What is he, guys?
No, the whole
He's a
message is I'm
fucking
actually
loser.
fucking acting. You know, a lot of people are gonna fucking watch this video, and if you stay to here, and you're gonna say cool, and then you're gonna go back to being the same person. My whole message is just do it, man.
The
It's
thought
really that easy.
means nothing without
Well,
the
it's not
action.
easy. It's not fucking easy. Nothing in life is easy, but just do it. Just fucking do it.
The thing is, though, it's
Fucking write it down. Write fucking 5 things.
The thing is,
Write
like-
things. 5 things.
You say just do it though. It's easy. That's easier said than done. Like
Yeah,
everyone,
that's facts.
everyone
That's
says
fucking
just
facts.
do it.
Mhm.
And
I'm
let me
sorry.
fucking,
You're right.
like,
You're right. You're right. Shush
Like
me.
if like you just say just do it, just do it. Just it's not really gonna.
Just my
how do you
message
do it?
is just
Why
write
how do you do it?
messages. Just
Why
write
should I do
5
it?
things in your notes. I just wrote 5 things in my notes. It was the same thing, just 5 times because that's what I want to be. I want to be a fucking winner.
Let me tie it into this with as far as how do you do it. Number 1, always tie it into how badly you want it, because Josh always says this. As he
I'm
just
a
said,
hungry hippo.
does it take a fucking rocket scientist
It doesn't take a
Done.
fucking scientist.
to understand that? Whatever, right? That's exactly what this
Right,
is.
Rich Piano.
Whatever you want, you will achieve. Something Andrew Tate said that I love, and he said it like
Want to
this.
be
He says,
entertained? Want to be entertained?
yeah, guys, incoming. No, he's right. Incoming comment. I'm gonna want to be Andrew Tate. He said this. He goes, "There's a secret to the universe that a lot of people don't know," and it goes like this. A lot of people heard the phrase, "As long as you tried your best, that's all that matters," right? As long as you tried your best, it doesn't matter if you lose. It just matters if you put in your best, right?
Exactly.
The secret is if you actually try your best, you can't lose. Straight out, like you try your best, no excuses, full effort, wanting it that badly, you can't
You
lose.
just can't. Yeah. That's right.
Dude,
And
I'm
for some people,
full-heartedly
that
love
might
that.
sound arrogant, but it's true, bro. Like,
Yeah, and
how
people
can you
are-
lose
people
when
are-
you
yeah,
do
dude, that's what I'm
everything
saying.
and sacrifice the things that nobody else is willing to sacrifice. How are you going to be the person to fail?
Exactly.
This makes no sense.
Exactly, and some people probably just clicked off because they heard me say Andrew Tate, and that's fine. How badly do you fucking want it?
Exactly.
That's all it ties into. Like I'm full-heartedly convinced that if you ever are at a point in your time where you're fucking grinding, you're going hard, and you hit that plateau where you're starting questioning why, you just have to remind yourself, how badly do you want this?
Exactly.
And when you don't, like when you're sitting there and you're not really motivated and you're not really wanting to do the things that you're supposed to do, it's not clear. Your goals aren't really clear. The person who you want to be isn't really clear. It's not really who you want to be. And that's why you have to do some work again on yourself. You know what I mean? That's why you have to go back to the lab, go back into your mind, rework your mind. Like we were talking about dopamine. That's a good thing because a lot of the times, like our ambitions are buried under the dopamine. Like our ambitions are because, like I said, when you're satisfied, you don't really. For example, when you have everything, you don't really want anything. So regulate your dopamine. You know what I mean? Be more aware of that type of stuff, and then go back to the lab and get working on your mind and what you actually want. Because if it's clear, you'll do it. Like the reason I think Josh is more hungry is because he's clear on who he wants to be.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to.
And that's because I played the game Hungry Hippo.
Yeah, play the game fucking Hungry Hippo and see how it goes.
And with that comes taking things step by step, brick by brick. Like
Yeah.
people underestimate the importance of patience and taking things slow. You know, everything's not gonna happen tomorrow or overnight. You gotta do it step by step. And
Are you just laying bricks or are you building a castle?
building a castle by laying the
Ooh,
bricks.
I like that.
Yeah,
The Wall
So-
of China the Great Wall of China wasn't built. You mean it was built brick by brick?
exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Eventually, it's gonna build up.
Mhm.
So for different people, it's different times. Like for you, you might achieve some type of success in a month. I might achieve it in like 2-3 months. It's
Mhm.
different. It's how much work we each put in and how we do specific things. Now, if you achieve it in a month, but then I achieve it in 3 months, I also achieved it. But I don't have to dwell on how fast you achieved it. You know, I feel like a lot of people don't understand this either. They try to look at other people and say, okay, because he achieved it in this time period, I also have to do it. Otherwise, I'm a failure.
Yeah.
It's like, no, dude, take your journey and follow your steps. What one person will take out of this podcast as a step, another person will take another because, you know, they just correlate to a different one.
And if that is a struggle for anyone, go watch our video comparison to Thief of Joy. Like, I'm not even trying to plug our fucking
'Cause that's our
podcast right
old-ass
now.
video,
But I think
but
that, like, what we
that's-
covered in that video is exactly
Exactly.
like this.
that
Like,
one of our first videos with us being black screen?
Because everybody's
I
at a
could be,
different
yeah.
level,
I
dude.
think
Like,
so.
but that's
somebody's
fine. What we
already
said
journaling
was-
but not taking that much action, but somebody's not even journaling or taking action. So those two different people start at different point. So you can't have a competition with people too much.
Yeah,
Dude,
there's limits.
I'm telling you right now, the person I'm gonna be in 6 months is gonna be totally different to who I am now, and I'm gonna say that right now, just because
Absolutely.
I'm getting back in the lab. Like, I need to fucking change.
Exactly.
Like, that's just what it is.
Me
I
too,
need
bro.
to fucking change. So you'll see me in 6 months. I'll be a totally different person.
Yes, sir.
All of us, man. I know it. I also know that God rewards those who want it bad enough with what you said.
Yep.
He's watching.
He's watching. He's seen everything.
Quote a fucking day.
Quote a fucking day.
If you start believing in your greatness, it is the death of your creativity. Bye.
Oh, I wonder who
I
this
don't
is.
know.
Where's the bye,
so-
guys?
I put down myself because what I recall is I found this.
course he fucking did. Of course he fucking did.
I found this somewhere where I can't recall, and I recall paraphrasing it. So I'm gonna give myself credibility, but of course I'm not the full in charge of this. So do put a great point. It might be in the book "Ego is the Enemy" by Ryan Holiday. Me and him both can agree. It's an amazing book. It correlates with every episode we fucking talk about. And
I think
if that
everybody
is-
really needs that book, bro.
that's
It
facts.
teaches you how to destroy ego.
I think they need
Ego
to quote by
is the
Joshua
enemy,
Nico.
bro.
No,
what they need.
I was actually going through my mind. I want to create a quote, and I'm thinking I'm gonna include hungry hippos in it. I'll explain why.
piece.
Let us
Wow.
know. Let us
Let
know.
us
We'll
know.
put it on before the fucking.
I will. Shout out, Big Mike. Lead us.
You guys should play footsies at the end of each episode.
Bye.
By Brandon Halty for QE.
Hall dash I
Okay,
4
so who's
QE.
doing it?
Do you know what that is? What is footsie?
Don't tell me. We're not playing fucking footsies. What are you doing?
Yo, when we have a serious episode and we put that as a shout out, that's when you know we don't get comments, bro.
We're down bad, guys. Please.
No, but thank you.
I
I'm
hope there's
assuming.
like only like 5 people who see the end of that shit, bro. Him just sticking his fucking feet in my face.
Sorry, I'm done.
Thank you for the comment. I'm assuming you watched the episode, and I always.
No, he
that's the
fucking did
case.
it.
I
Nah.
believe he did. I do believe full-heartedly. Thank you. We appreciate that type of shit. You have no idea how much it means. I'm not a guy who shows emotion, but I'm fucking grateful.
We all are. With that being said, think
Think big,
big, grow big.